everybody. Welcome to City Girls Pod. And this is the show where we're looking at Sex in the City. And today we are deep into season 6, and we are talking about episodes 8, 9, and 10. And this is going to be really fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jax is here.
Hello. We're really getting into it, Rach.
Yes, we are. We're almost done. I just can't believe it.
Don't worry, more fun to come. We've got Carrie Diaries. We've got In Just Like That.
Yes.
Rachel and I will find things to review.
Yes, we will. Yes, and these are some really fun episodes. I mean, we had some highlights last time, but we're continuing on. I think a great season 6. I think they ended very strong, and we start with The Catch. That's season 6, episode 8. And as we always say on the show, that if you're not into mature content, this is not the show for you. There's plenty of other stuff to listen to on Hallmarkies podcast. So
literally anything else.
Yes. So this episode we have Carrie taking trapeze lessons, and she is having a hard time having the guts to let go and to hold on to switch over to the other person. And yeah, I think that this is a fun little set piece, I think, for Carrie for this episode.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor for her life and a fun activity. Like my friend Michelle, she just had her birthday and she's doing this thing called the Artist's Way. And it's a series of basically prompts and activities you do if you want to tap into your creativity. And she took herself on a solo date to trapeze. And yeah, it's really cool. They have it here in New York and it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so she's doing this, for her column, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does look like fun. I think I would be terrible at it, but
I would be awful and scared.
yes. I don't think I would be that scared because there is the safety net.
So when I think about it, I know there's nothing to be scared of, but I'm afraid of heights even when I'm just looking down at something. That's how
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
scared of heights. So that's probably why I'm just I don't know if I could do it.
I'm not really scared. I'm not scared of heights.
At all.
I don't think so. I can't think of a time when it's really gotten to me. I if I'm if I'm kind of unstable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then that's sort of scary. But I don't think heights isn't one for me that's real.
That's a fear that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other
Carrie in
things
this.
I hate the having, I have more issues with unfamiliar animals, bugs. I get bugs on me.
Bugs. Yeah.
I'm not really scared of bugs, but I'm definitely scared of unfamiliar dogs.
Yeah, well,
They
especially
scare me.
big dogs or just
Especially big dogs. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. Or
You're
just
what will
wild
you do?
animals in general. When I went to Japan, there's this one city where there's deer everywhere. I forget the name, but they even sell these. They have these vendors who sell these biscuits that you can give to the deer, and I I got some of the. I mean, I try to be a good sport and I try to play along, and so I got some of the biscuits, and the deer just swarmed around me. I was terrified, and
they just swarmed.
Yes, and I'm just giving out the biscuits,
Rachel's just throwing biscuits wildly.
Yes. So, yes, and I think I told the story on here about when the kids decided to throw the bird at me. So yeah, birds.
That was cruel, by the way.
Yeah, that was me. So things like that kind of scare me more than heights.
I would like to see Carrie in a snake pit. That would be fun.
Yeah. I appreciated this sort of plot of Samantha getting frustrated because she can't do certain things by herself. She can't, her zipper's caught, she can't get her bracelet off, things like that. And that is true. That I think of it more as if there's a jar that I just cannot get open, and I try and try and try, and I just can't get it stupid jar open.
Or you try like hitting it,
Yeah,
and then
try
you try the
everything.
trick with the knife. Yeah. And it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is a really nice, vulnerable moment for Samantha, because as much as she's like, I don't want a partner, then she's feeling all these ways in which she kind of likes having someone around.
Yeah. Yeah, because there, even if we want to be independent and single and everything, like there are advantages to being with a partner. I mean, so
Yeah.
it's I think annoying when people try to pretend like there's nothing better, that it's exactly the same. It's not.
Yeah, I think that that shows a very like a lack of awareness of,
Yes.
and I think it's interesting because most people who are in relationships have at one time or another been single. So don't you remember that? Like, I'm not saying
Hmm.
there aren't, like, I really enjoyed being single. Um but I still remember things that were more difficult about being single, like
Yeah.
just lifestyle wise. Like, so I just think that there's, if you're not able to acknowledge that, I just think that's really just kind of
It's just
self-centered.
annoying. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So Miranda's having a hard time with Debbie in this episode. She's very jealous. She has a hard time with the fact that like Debbie's buying Brady a t-shirt.
I'm sorry,
She's
Brady? Do you mean Bradylicious?
Yeah, right.
What? I like Debbie's adorable, but I mean, well, we don't know much about Debbie yet, but you're like, she cracks me up.
Yeah, and I love how I love how Magda is like, what is wrong with you? When she's hiding from she's
That
just
is
like,
terrifying. It's kind of like in She's Just Not That Into You when Scarlett Johansson is in that closet.
closet. Yeah.
Have you ever had to hide in a closet?
No,
Yeah,
but
me
I've never
either.
had a reason to. So
Yeah.
my life isn't that exciting. I mean, there's no
Rachel, maybe that's our goal for 2023, is that something exciting enough happens to both of us that we're forced to hide in a
I
closet.
think that sounds good. Living the dream, I would
Living
be.
the dream.
But it was really funny when so Debbie buys Miranda a candle aromatherapy, and that was funny when women with candles have replaced women with cats as the new sad thing.
I have one cat and a lot of candles. So, okay, bring it on.
Yeah. I don't have that many candles, I have to say. I'm pretty good. I guess I don't have any cats, so I'm
Yeah,
a
you're pretty.
I,
Yeah, you're not looking at that like pathetic life choice, like the
I just
trope.
collect podcasts instead. That's what I do.
You've got plenty of those.
Yes. And so Anthony's trying to help Charlotte plan this wedding, and she wants it to be a very, of course, very Jewish wedding. But then Harry almost sees Charlotte in her dress. Uh, she's freaking out about this New York Times announcement. And then it comes out and she has a mustache, and she's like, she's going to be Hitler at the Jewish wedding.
Rachel, that, and it's the perfect kind of smudge, because I like the way she's like, well, maybe it's just in my paper. And then she calls Carrie, and it just, because you could actually see it happening. Like, it's something that could actually happen. And I was just laughing so hard.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Carrie looks great though.
Well, I didn't. You mean at the wedding? The
Oh, I
purple
meant
dress.
in the photo that Harry looked good
Oh,
in the photo.
Harry. I thought you said
Yeah.
Carrie. I was like, what?
Oh, no,
All right.
not
I get it.
yeah, I agree with you. I think I know where you're headed. That's not, she's not firing all cylinders, but Harry looked very handsome in the photo.
Yes, that's true. Well, yeah, once Charlotte making it the right relaxed pose for yeah. Do you think that you'll do an engagement photo like that?
Probably not. I mean, I think it's really cute. I'm I'm like not super into like traditional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like probably I would say definitely not like that in Central Park. We're
Mm-hmm.
not trying to get like Times announcement or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
Would you do like a big engagement spread?
well, I, I'm probably, to be honest, because my dad is a photographer, and I mean, my dad's done a lot of photography, done a lot of weddings, so it's so easy for me. I wouldn't have to even go
Yes.
outside of the family, and it's nice to have a photo, but some of them are super cheesy, and I don't know. It's there's so much about weddings that are really cheesy, but
And don't feel like they're true to the couple. Like you
yeah.
almost wish that people would find something that really celebrates their own unique love and commitment and bond and their personalities rather than like just tradition.
Yeah, but I feel like when they make it unique, it could almost be even cheesier. Like it's better to just kind
Yes.
of just do it. You don't try to
You're like, they're
create.
trying too hard. They're trying too
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. But I don't know. I guess it just depend on the whole situation, how how fast it all went, and if I was
Yeah.
doing a reception, and like it's pretty uncommon in the like Mormon wedding world to not have a photo
Yes.
with your not your engagement, with your reception invitation. So people kind of expect it.
Yes.
Um,
So not to do it would be like, what is happening? Yeah.
unusual. But this was a pretty good episode as far as fashion, except for one look. But I really liked the restaurant look, I guess, that the ladies had. You had Samantha with this kind of red one shoulder dress, and then you had Miranda with this kind of flowing 70s kind of
Yeah.
top V-neck that I liked. And then Carrie was in a green striped dress, and Charlotte in kind of a beigey top that looked nice. I thought they all looked nice. And then you also have a scene where Miranda is in this kind of purple top that goes up high,
Yeah.
and then Carrie in a kind of orange V-neck, kind of loose flowing type dress. I'm sure people that actually know fashion are like, that's such a
I think you're
cringy
accurately
description.
describing it to me.
but but
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
but Carrie meets one of Harry's best friends named Howie, who is the best man, gonna be best man at the wedding, and Carrie is the maid of honor. And this Howie is played by Brian Callen, and if I was a Goldbergs fan for a long time, I finally kind of fell off the show last season, but he played Coach Meller on the Goldbergs, and it was a
Oh.
lot of fun in that role. And so it was fun to see him on this.
He's really cute and funny.
Yeah, and he's very energetic.
When he pops into the lunch and you see why he's so charismatic, like he's cracking jokes and you think, oh, he and Carrie could have something. And then it doesn't go so well.
No, it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. And so we get to Charlotte's wedding, and she thinks that they now have bad luck because of the the Hitler picture, and also because Harry saw her in her dress, and then everything just kind of is going wrong. Everything's a mess. And I liked Stanford. He looked very snazzy in his
Yes.
purple suit, but I just wasn't a big fan of Carrie's dress.
Yeah, I don't think she was like peak Carrie here.
Well, and also I hated her hair. It was like weird Heidi hair. Like it looked like she was gonna climb the Swiss Alps or something. Like she have her hair like that.
She's like wedding, and then I can climb themselves right after. I like that.
Yeah. I just
She's prepared for all
was-
occasions.
Yes. I just really I didn't like the deep scoop of the dress, and I just didn't think it was that flattering. I liked the purple, but it was kind of
It's
a T
always
length, and I don't know, I just didn't love it. And the
it's
hair.
always interesting with Carrie how like what I love about Carrie Bradshaw is that she's not afraid to have a huge swing and a miss with fashion. She goes big,
That's true.
but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Did you like it?
No,
No. Okay,
I did
good.
not. I like the color though. Yeah, I agree
The
that the color
color.
was fine. But I also think that for someone else's wedding, it was a little too showy with
Yeah.
the hair also. Like
Yeah.
the whole thing just seemed a little bit like costume party.
Yeah. It was just no, not for me.
Mm-mm.
And then we have Carrie though make a really nice moment because Charlotte's upset, crying. She says this is the worst wedding. And Carrie says, "You are missing your wedding." And she says, "I would love to find a man who's strong enough to catch me." And then Charlotte is able to get through the terrible toast from Howie and the sweet toast from Miranda.
The
Even though it
sweet
goes
and
up
fiery toast.
fiery toast, yeah.
It's so beautiful. And I love how all the girls get just how fearless Charlotte is in love. I mean, I think that we saw that with Carrie too, with the dedication of her book, how my friend Charlotte, who doesn't give up on love. And then
Hmm.
we hear Miranda echoing those sentiments in a really beautiful way until the
Yeah,
paper goes up
her
in flames.
toast goes up in flames.
It happens.
But I thought it was probably one of the more it was one of the stronger Carrie moments because she can be kind of petty and difficult, but for her to be the one to tell Charlotte you're missing your wedding and everything, and I thought that was a good moment for Carrie.
Yeah, I agree. I
Mhm.
thought she was really pulling herself out of that like Carrie haze.
Yeah. Well, and especially because she can't like move her back. She's like, I mean, I've had some lower back problems myself, and that is just the worst when it seizes up like that and you can't move.
When she was just on the floor like in
Oh,
agony.
oh, the worst. But yeah, that's basically the episode. Yeah, there's such a sweet wedding, even though it was just a mess. That was very memorable, and she also says, you had your perfect wedding, and see where that led you.
I do like that sort of reality check of the perfect wedding has nothing to do with marrying the perfect person.
So then we end with Carrie missing the trapeze grab, I guess.
Yeah.
And then she says, "I survived because I had a good safety net," and that was very sweet. And then the girls are there.
Look, they just know what they're doing when they write these episodes. Like they come together like in such beautiful ways with like the trapeze and the having a
Mhm.
safety net and the literal safety net and then the metaphorical safety net of the girls. Like they really each episode is like a little master class in how to craft a story.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So what would you give this episode 1 to 10?
I like this one. I think it's fun. It's not one of my all-time favorites, but I love it made me laugh a lot and I love that Charlotte's married now. So I give it an 8.5. What about you?
I was gonna say an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right around that
Yeah.
same thing. All right. So the next episode is called A Woman's Right to Shoes. And in this episode, basically, we have Carrie going to this baby shower of a friend, and she's forced to take off her shoes, and then her shoes get taken. And I really wish that we had somebody who has kids
Yes.
on this for this one, but it just wasn't able to work out. But what did you think about this episode in general?
This episode has always fired me up because, well, I will never spend, whether I'm single or not single, I never have and don't picture myself ever spending that much on shoes. It really angered me the way Carrie's friend look down at her life choices. Like
Yeah.
and look, some of them are choices and some of them are things that like Carrie hasn't found the person that she's supposed to be with yet. And some things in life are decisions you make and other things are things that happen to you. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
we all need to just respect each other and it's not like Carrie should be judging her for having kids and having a different lifestyle. But yeah, it really got under my skin. How did you feel?
Yeah, this one definitely hits a lot of buttons because it is hard that the dynamic between singles and friends with kids, it's tough. It's tough to make those friendships work. I certainly have some. I value them, but it is hard. It's just such a different uh lifestyle and just time of life. I don't know. Yeah, she was very frustrating, very judgmental. But I know that they often, I know people who have kids often feel, oh, well, like they're the ones that are being judged. They're the ones that are by single friends. It's a tough dynamic to make work. It really is. Like I said, I value my friends with kids. It can be difficult though. Uh, but she talks about buying presents for baby and bridal showers. Then later on, she says that she spent over $2,300 on Kira's choices, which is true. I mean, we do have all of these um, events. That's why I was saying last time about how I'm not buying another present for a vow renewal. That's not like a real thing.
Yes, yeah. You're like, come on. Like, also, it's like we need to start normalize celebrating other things like career achievements and things like that, or whatever the case may be. Like it's like, oh, you were single and you made it through the pandemic. Like, let's throw a party. You also, I
Yeah.
really wanted to. I think that I know when I've gone through, when I went through my big breakup, I would have loved to have a registry then. That's when I needed stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, Carrie says if I don't ever get married or have a baby, I get nothing. The single gal, Hallmark doesn't make a congratulations, you didn't marry the wrong guy card.
Think
And
about that. That's seriously pretty. Yeah,
it's
like
true.
yes.
Yeah, I mean it is true. And I think sometimes the whole, well, we'll just celebrate something else, like it can feel a little patronizing. So it's a tough, like, I don't know what the answer quite is, but it can be sort of frustrating. She says, I'm thrilled to get you gifts to celebrate your life. I just think it stinks that single people are left out of it. And I think that's true.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's true. And that's why I think it's great to have things where if someone, does have some sort of accomplishment or something happens in their life that is, I mean, so many things are
Yeah.
worthy of celebrating. I'm just all about celebrating. I think the other thing is that, I mean, there's a couple things going on here. It's the lack of being able to celebrate the single woman. And then it's also like, look, she didn't choose to take her shoes off and they straight up got stolen. Like you kind of just have to
Yeah.
replace that. It's not a gift, by the way. They got stolen because you made her take them off. I don't know what else to say other than you are responsible. That happened in
Mhm.
your home.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Carrie probably should have just put the shoes in her bag or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's right. I mean, they should have been taken care of um by the host. I mean, if you're going to have them, and the whole idea of like, well, single people bringing in stuff into the house, like it's weird. I mean, especially Carrie's shoes. It's not like she's wearing Doc Martens or something like that are going to be like full of dirt and stuff. It's like,
Yes. Come on. And I mean, I think that the yes, there's a part of me that's like, okay, she could have hung on to them, but her purse is probably really small. And also, I feel like when you go to someone's house and they ask you to take your shoes off, you look like a weirdo if you're like, let me just hang on to them. Like you look like you don't trust them or something. So
yeah,
I just
it's just an awkward situation. It
it
really
really
is.
is. And normally I can see many sides to a situation, especially with Carrie, because as you and I can agree, and
Mhm.
we've talked about in the show, Carrie Bradshaw is the worst. She can be a total nightmare. In this situation, I do not think she is being a nightmare. I
Yeah.
completely understand how she's feeling.
Yes. And I think that especially when Kira is so dismissive of her, and when and Carrie says, why does she have to shame me? And she says, is it bad my life is filled with shoes, not children? And I think to Kira, the answer is yes. She thinks it is. And I think that a lot of people feel that way. And I was just reading on Twitter, what was it the other day? Some idiot was saying about how that millennials are going to wake up and realize that their their lives are have uh have no like nothing matters in their life or whatever, and they're when they wake up and realize they don't have when they don't have children and they enter their 40s, and like what a weird reason to have children, because you don't want to be bored in your 40s. Like you should have children because you want to have children, not because you need something to do. Like,
Well, I think that's like another part of the problem, right? Like it's that because you need something to do or because you want to find meaning. It's like I think that having children is a great blessing and gift, and also like one of the most amazing things you can do is raise humans up the right way, whatever that means. But um I find meaning in a lot of things. And I
yes.
think that I hope other people can too. And if you can't, maybe you need
Yeah.
to examine yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like it when people make judgments of people that have kids, and you see
100%.
people that like, if you want to have a big family, go for it. As far as I'm concerned, like if you think that you can love them and you can do a good job, and go for it. I just think sometimes we judge women who don't have kids. We judge women who have too many kids. We judge women.
Rachel, it blows my mind. Like you said, don't have any judged. Too many judged. If you only have one, you also get judged because
Yes.
they don't have a sibling.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, so what is the good number? 2 or 3? Is that what we're saying is the only acceptable thing?
Yeah.
It is. I don't get that either with the whole judging people who have kids. I mean, one, because I'm not planning on having kids, but I love them. So when I see other people having them, I'm like, what a joy. I'm so glad these kids are in my life if I'm close with them. Or I don't get it. It makes me so mad. Why do you care? Why are you judging other people so much?
Yeah. Yeah. And also this Kira who's played by Tatum O'Neal, she also
she's really good in this, but I used to have a huge crush on her when she did Bad News Bears. Like I remember growing up and being like being a little girl and being like, well, that's a girl, but she seems like a boy. I was like, I love her. So Tatum O'Neal all the way. But
but
hers, Kira.
She's so overwhelmed with these children in her life that I think that she doesn't even remember the argument. Like it's such a big deal to Carrie, and she's forgotten completely about it.
I think that's another thing too. The way she says is so condescending, where she's like, I've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. I mean, I get that you have so many other things going on, and that's understandable. It also, Kira's character bugs me because I feel like I'd be more understanding if it was a friend of mine who I knew was struggling financially with kids. Like, they have kids and they're struggling financially, but these people seem like they're made of money.
Yeah. No, that's true too. And she offers $200 to Carrie, and Carrie's like, oh, it was $485, which for Manola Blahniks, I feel like that's not even that much.
Yeah, and when Carrie said, I mean, you know how much Manolos cost. Like you used to wear Manolos.
I mean, we just talked about the $1,500 Prada turtleneck, so she's giving her a deal.
Exactly. And I love the way Carrie is just like, that's how much they cost. This is an awkward conversation. It's like Carrie's not trying to like stand on ceremony and get more money or make her feel bad. She's literally just trying to get back what she lost in Kira's apartment.
Yeah. And so then we have Miranda meeting Robert, the hot doctor for the Knicks. Blair Underwood is so dreamy.
I mean, Mic
And that's
drop.
the whole thing that makes the whole thing with Steve frustrating, and just like that is that Miranda chose Steve over hot Nick's doctor Robert, and
And it
she
made sense to us. Like that's what's nuts about it. Like it made sense because of how much she loves Steve. Even though Robert is the perfect specimen of a man.
yeah, they made it seem like and just like that she was never into Steve, and that's just not true.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not as if Robert was just fine. He he also was a really kind person. So
Yeah.
he's super successful, attractive, funny, and kind. Like, but we believe that she wouldn't be with him because we see that she really is in love with Steve.
Yeah. And yeah, he takes care of her with chicken pox. It's very sweet. And it's kind of it's a little bit of a weird meet cute with her with chicken pox. And she was like, "Oh, you've got a pock." Strange. But yeah, they meet in the elevator, and then we also have Charlotte learning to live with Harry, and he likes his tea bags. He leaves them all over the house. I mean, he evidently drinks a lot of tea.
Yeah,
And I
kind of
mean,
nice, I guess.
I just would want to be like, here's a saucer, like you can put the tea bag on that.
Maybe not on all the furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's because you really do cover a lot of different sort of relationship stages in one episode. You've got like the just meeting, just starting dating. You've got the just learning to live together, be married. You have the singles. You've got the mom with kids. You have a lot going on in this episode.
I just feel like I should say Harry's got a good body. Look, we're not looking at it in a sort of sexy sense because he's walking around naked and sitting on wine furniture naked, and Charlotte's like, please no. But I just want to appreciate
well, and I have to think probably this actor, I forget his name, but that he probably never thought that he would be having to do a scene like that in a show. He's probably like Evan Handler. Evan Handler's probably like, I never thought this would come up in my acting career, but here we go. And he went for it.
100%. And you know what I feel like might have happened? They were like, okay, you look better naked than we thought. Okay, we'll go with it, but it's not as funny anymore, right? Because you look pretty darn good. I mean, am I being weird? Like, I think he looked good.
Yeah. No.
Like, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
And then she finally talks to him about it, and it was funny. It was good. I think it would be a challenge if I ever do meet someone, get married or whatever. Because I have been living by myself for so long, it would be challenging to get used to another person's and them get used to me, their idiosyncrasies and ways.
Yeah, because everyone has such a specific way that they live.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I've never really had a problem with it, only because I shared a room with my sister growing up, and then I always had roommates. So like I've always lived with someone, and not saying it's not different when you're in a relationship, but really it's still just the same kind of like balancing the bathroom and things like that. But I mean, I know when I when I would go away for a job or when I'm on my own, it's like, oh my gosh, I can just do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've lived alone for over a decade, so it would be challenging. Even have a roommate at this point would be challenging.
What do you think would be the hardest thing for you? Like, what would be the biggest adjustment or the thing that you'd be the most worried about dealing with?
Well, like I said, I've said before, I kind of have like little piles around, and I know that would probably, like, I know what's in there and it's not the best, and I get it, but like, I'm sure that would annoy somebody. And sometimes when I get the house cleaned and then I'm like, where's my stuff? I don't know.
I miss my pile.
I miss so that would probably be, I think sharing a bathroom would be a challenge. because you just, again, you're used to having your own space. But I mean, you figure it out. But
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
I also am terrible about laundry. That would probably be because I just let it pile up because I don't care and I hate doing laundry. And so that would probably be something I'd have to work on.
Well, Rachel, I will say I don't mind piles and I love doing laundry. So if we ever have to cohabitate, I think we'd be fine.
I've got the guest room ready to go.
So we're good. I just spend a lot of time in the bathroom though. So that might be bad for you.
Well, you have your own bathroom. So come out.
Okay, there's no problem.
Yes. Your next Utah shoot, you got to come.
Yes, please. Oh, if I have my own, good glory, Rachel. We're fine. We're cooking with gas here.
Well, so we also have Samantha that just flat out doesn't like children. And so that's a problem too, because, when you have parents that are trying and people are being jerks on planes or in restaurants or things like that, just like, what do people want us to do? Like, did they want them to just get rid of the children? Like pretend like the children don't exist? Like, so that's like the other flip side of this whole thing of like single people can be the worst too. And it was interesting. Just the other day, I was at a play, and these children were being so difficult. They were kicking my chair. They were talking loudly. They were moving all around, and it was very disruptive. And I hesitated to say anything about it because I just hate that whole. I hate being thought of as one of those sort of grumpy single women like Samantha. I hate being thought of like Samantha in this episode because I'm not. Like I support families and women with kids, and I think it's great you take kids to the theater. I think that should be encouraged. But there is a point when they are being disruptive, and that's a problem. So yeah, I think sometimes in Utah, because we have so much local theater, that I think sometimes maybe we take it for granted a little bit. I mean, I remember when I was a little girl going to the Shakespeare Festival with my dad and being so excited and so thrilled about that. And I definitely wasn't kicking people's chair. I'm not saying I was an ideal child, but I think there is something to that's just a special experience, and you need to teach your kids about etiquette and try your best to help everybody have a pleasant experience together. But then also the single people shouldn't be jerks.
Yeah, and I think there's a fine line. Like the girl that I used to babysit for, that's now just like my little best friend. She's 13 now, but I took her to her first play when she was like 2.5. And I remember like moving around a little, and she'd be excited, and she'd be like, "Oh, look at that." And I'd be like, "I know, it's really exciting. We'll talk about it after." Like you have to let them know the proper etiquette because they don't know. And I think that you can be aware of the other people around you because you can't just ruin their experience. I think with Samantha in the restaurant, here's what I thought was interesting. Samantha has no leg to stand on, in my opinion, being upset about this kid in the restaurant. However, when the waiter told her to not talk on the cell phone, I'm like, okay, like this is there's other people that are conversing. I just thought, I was like, okay.
You can tell this is a different time because that would never happen now. You would never have anybody tell. I mean, partly because of social media, and restaurants will want to have people on their phones tweeting and Instagramming.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, once the kid throws his pasta at her, like that's another line that's totally ridiculous. The fact that the mom wasn't horrified by this. So I don't know. It's just like eh, people should be able to go to a restaurant or go on a plane with a kid. They don't. You see these people that are like giving out like apologizing for the kids and giving out things to people on the
Yes.
plane and stuff, and it's just like no, like you shouldn't have to. We should all be mature enough to work together, and and people are like, oh, we shouldn't brought the kid on the plane. What is he supposed to do with the kid? Leave them home? Like what are we talking about?
I do not get this. Okay. It's like there's going to be kids on the plane. There's going to be people that are disabled. There's going to be people that are older and move slower. There's going to be people like me who have a voice that just cuts through and can be annoying sometimes. Like there's just going to be different people interacting.
Yeah.
You just deal with it.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think this is actually a really well written episode. I think it
Yeah.
touches on a lot and has good performances, and it has some good discussions. So I'm actually give this a really high score. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I really like this episode.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I loved it. And I love at the end, it's this triumphant thing about it's like you're saying, Rachel, too, about people not really taking in sometimes or understanding what it means to be single. And she's talking about, walking a mile in a single woman's shoes. And sometimes you need
Mhm.
like a really special pair. And I just thought it's one of those that you're like, yeah, they get it.
Yeah. Also, Carrie gets married to herself, which I think is kind of cheesy, but whatever. And then she registers at Manola Blahnik, and Kira gets her the shoes, replaces her shoes, and so there you go. Uh, and she says that the whole title of the episode, that she has the right to a woman's right to shoes.
So good.
Yes. All right. So then episode 10 is Boy Interrupted. And this episode, Carrie meets up with her high school sweetheart, played by David Duchovny. And I didn't love this episode. I thought that the way they treated him as some kind of scary person, something to be feared. I don't know, just the way they handled his mental illness really did not work for me at all. And I think that's probably just the difference between 2003 and 2022.
Yes, I completely agree. I think the only reason why I really like this episode is because I like David Duchovny and he's super charming. But it's one of the, I would say, if I'm thinking back over the whole like Sex and City like canon, there's probably 5 episodes I can think of that are really problematic, and this is one of them for me as well.
But I am curious to see how they fit him into the Carrie Diaries when we watch.
Yes, I didn't even think about that.
That'll be fun.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, what's his name? We'll have to watch out for
Yeah. Oh, he's so cute.
Jeremy and the Carrie Diaries.
Jeremy. Yeah, yeah. This one sat weird in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so he's at a rehab center basically because of mental illness, and he seems like fully functioning to me, but like I don't know, it was just like something out of like turn of the century or something. This place that he's at, they've got people in straitjackets, like One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest kind of thing. Like I don't know. I know that there are like mental health facilities and things like that, but just something like this just doesn't feel relatable to me at all. And the way that Carrie talked about him and treated him, and as soon as she found out that he had this, then she was immediately turned off and thought that he was somehow dangerous, I felt like. And I don't know, I just felt like he is actively seeking treatment for his illnesses, I guess you'd say. And I don't know, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I think these stuff like this with mental health, like for me is personally like Like it just is so upsetting. So yeah, I really it was pushing all my wrong kind of buttons
Yeah.
this episode. But David Duchovny, he's so I guess for me, I wanted to ask you, Rachel, like they don't go into it, but what I was getting from what he was experiencing is that like because of the stress of his job and other things, and of course, like whatever was happening to him, he had what I would guess was a nervous breakdown, like due to stress and exhaustion and all those things. So he's here just recuperating. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
Well,
that's
yeah,
almost
that's what
like
he
a
says. He says, "Oh, well, they have yoga and Pilates and things like that at this place." It's basically like a rehab center place.
yeah, and I hate to make it sound like now it would be a trendy thing because I'm not trying to make mental health like diminish it or make it be like a trendy thing. But I feel like now if that happened with Carrie, she'd be like, "Oh, that's so incredible! Like you're doing self care and
Yeah.
you're getting in the right mental space. Like it wouldn't be like he's crazy."
Yeah, agreed. And then we have Samantha trying to get into this pool that's like a rooftop kind of pool for a building in her area, but they don't have that many members, and she can't get in. So she pretends to be this woman. She finds this woman's card, and she pretends to be Annabelle Bronstein, and that was kind of fun. That was
It's
enjoyable.
It's really fun. So I have a friend who just joined the Soho House and she's taken me a few times. And oh my gosh, it is fun.
You've been here.
I've been. Okay.
Oh my
But Rachel,
gosh.
next time you're in town, let me know because she can bring up to 3
Oh,
guests.
that'd be
You really
fun.
like her. Her name's Molly. She's so fun. I was in acting class with her. You would love her. She's a film. Actually, you should review some of her films. She's really good. But we should
Cool.
all go to the Soho House next time you're here. I thought it would feel really snobby, but I think they're getting away from I think it might have been different then.
Yeah.
But now the vibe is like just like warm, creative. Like that's the vibe they're going for. But I've been to the rooftop that has the pool, but I've not gone to the pool.
Yeah, it was really funny when the waiter comes up to her and it's like, "You're not Annabelle Bronstein." I am
Yes,
Annabelle Bronstein. Like that whole thing was funny.
I love how she just doubled down and insisted. She's like, and she kept switching her accent, and it was so funny. I think this is another one of those things with Kim Cattrall where she just like nailed this.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course we find out that Charlotte was a cheerleader. Not a shocker.
They did herkies though. They didn't gyrate like the Knicks cheerleaders.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, they go to Stanford and Marcus are going to this prom that they're having, and we find out the Marcus used to be an escort, and Stanford doesn't know. He gets very upset when he finds out. But then they have their they break up, and so then Carrie ends up basically going with Stanford to the prom, and then Marcus is at the prom and they make up and it's very sweet.
This was another one of those things that kind of upset me, the judgment of Marcus, only because if he was doing sex work when they were together and keeping it from him, I do think that would be very problematic. I think you need to be honest about that. But I don't know. There's just something about this judgment of it that upset me. And like,
Yeah.
he obviously was like, he's like, this was not like my ideal job. Like it was a struggle for him. And I thought it was so romantic how they made up. And also I think for a lot of like, kids who are growing up queer, they never get to have that like prom experience. And to see them like dancing together, I got all teary.
It was really cute. Yeah. And for Stanford to be voted prom king and Carrie prom queen was very cute. I liked Carrie's dress as well. It was a very really kind of classic prom dress, blue with like with thick blue band around it. It was very had a 1950s aesthetic.
Yeah.
Which was
Wait, were you guys prom people? Did you do proms? How did that go?
Well, so I did homecoming. and
Okay,
winter
that's good.
formal. But then I actually, my family, we moved my senior year, so I wasn't there for that. My junior year, I had my appendix out the weekend of prom, so I didn't get to go to prom.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're okay with the appendix. So you okay, but you went to homecoming. You guys had
I
like
did.
dances for that. Okay, we didn't have
Yes.
dances for homecoming and winter formal, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you got to like wear the dress and like do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
for
You didn't
that.
have homecoming at your school?
We had like a homecoming like queen float court.
Uh-huh. You didn't have
But
a homecoming dance,
we didn't
huh?
have a homecoming dance. We didn't do a lot of dances except for prom. Like we didn't, yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why.
Well, we did those 3 here in Utah. They have a million. It is,
really?
yeah, they have so many dances that I'm just like, well, dancing is a big deal here in Utah. They, if you follow like any of those shows like Dance with the Stars and So You Think You Can Dance, a lot of the pros, a lot of them come from Utah. Yeah. It's just it's always been ever since even going all the way back to the pioneer days. They would have dances on the trail coming over. That which boggles my mind. That's like you've been walking all day and that's what you want to do is you want to dance. Like, wow,
Just want to move.
and they talk about them on their when they were having a resting day of like going hiking. I'm like, well, and there's a reason I was
That's how
not
we
a
rest.
pioneer.
We
I tell you
hike.
that right now.
Rachel and I would, if we were pioneers, we would not be hiking on our day off.
No, that's for
No.
sure.
I could see dancing at night, maybe to like blow off some steam, but I'm not hiking on my day off.
Well, and I just am amazed that there wasn't one pioneer who got they're crossing crossing the country. They get to this, they finally get to the place, you know, where literally that's what Brigham Young says is this is the place. They get here and there had to be one person who was like, are you kidding me? We're here with this giant salt lake and nothing can grow. It's desert and then these huge mountains. This is it. This is where
Are you sure?
Yeah, there must have been someone. That would have been me. And like we walked all this way for a stinky, terrible salt lake.
Rachel's like, cool. Like, I trust and believe, but also, really?
Yeah. Anyway. So Miranda is getting closer and closer to Robert. And when Blair Underwood, whoo, he is so dreamy in this show.
Yeah. He's very handsome.
Mm-hmm. And they get closer and closer. And
then she gets a little jealous of the cheerleader.
Yeah. And Robert says, I like someone else.
Yeah.
I like you. That was cute. They kiss. And that's the episode. I am gonna give this episode a 6.
Yeah, I'm right with you, 5-6 range. I really like David Duchovny though, so that's my only like. I wish that he had been you. I wish that I like David Duchovny's character. I wish that everything surrounding it could have been handled with more care.
Yeah. Me too. So let us know if you're listening what you think of these episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. You can find us at City Girls Pod. And Jax, where can people find you?
At Jacqueline C. Tweets on Twitter and Jacqueline Collier on Instagram.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We so appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group and merch store where you can get City Girls Pod merch. Check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.